Sports Cage, a week in the books, and do we have a jam-packed show for you today, talking a ton of football, all kinds: professional football, college football, university football, junior football, high school football, all over the map. We are going to sprinkle in a little hockey in there as well. There is a game locally tonight at the Brand Center. We'll talk hockey. But it's a busy one. Chris Mazurek is with me today. The Double C's are on the other side for 3 hours.
Everybody's a little feisty today. I know there's a million things going on, but I think fighting off the air would probably be a better thing about some of the other non-sports related stuff. Just the generation gap is really coming out today.
I feel, though, that Colson is kind of Switzerland. And we're attacking Curtis today. Curtis is being attacked. Curtis might be putting in a claim to HR and getting bullied. We're not sure. We'll see how that goes. He's turning red as we speak. What is coming up in the program, though? Hour one, we are going to talk Riders. We're getting ready. Coach Mace is going to talk to us. Dave Thomas had a chance to catch up with him just a few moments ago. Sean Campbell, play-by-play guy of the Montreal Alouettes.
And did you see the depth chart? Everybody's dressing. Everybody's playing. They're out to win the game, it looks like.
They're dressing.
Well,
are they going to play?
Well, Bombers are dressing everybody. Nobody's sitting for the Bombers.
Is Fajardo going to be on the sideline in sneakers or some sort of loafer?
Hey, you can do a spinorama at any time in any kind of footwear.
Hour two, Arash Madani. He's usually joining us on Thursday. He had a busy one yesterday, so he's popping in today. Regina Thunder, Stephen Smith, linebacker. 1 o'clock Sunday, Leibel Field. You guys talked to Murad yesterday.
Yeah.
Pre-tickets, right? Like, we got people, if you're going to that Thunder Okanagan game, I know we're going to talk about it more in a bit here, but you got to get your tickets what's it, Eventbrite?
Yeah, Eventbrite. Murad was thinking that they're going to put 1,400 people in there on Sunday. Seats, berm, you name it. Like, there's going to be just fans everywhere.
It's going to be an awesome atmosphere. Colson will need a weather check here momentarily on what the weather is on Sunday. World Series starts tonight. We'll briefly go over that. We tried to get Aaron Judge to join us. He wasn't available today. Hour three, Luc Mullinder, as well as Mark McConkey from the University of Regina Rams. They are in a must-win game tonight. If you got nothing to do, if you are sitting right now at work, at home, on the farm, in the truck, whatever, and you got nothing to do tonight, Leibel Field, 7 p.m., Rams and U of A Golden Bears. Win, and you're in. We're going to talk to Coach McConkey. Also, the Vanier Cup's in town.
Yeah, that's right, because they're doing a ticket blitz, aren't they? The early bird?
Big ticket blitz, yeah. So if you want to get a chance to go to the Vanier Cup next year, which is happening here in Regina, I just got to pull up the info that, Vanier Cup in town, Rams game tonight, party in the park tomorrow. We're having a flash ticket sale through Sunday with discounted tickets for next year's Vanier Cup game.
Is there a Phil Pritchard that guards the Vanier Cup like the Stanley Cup?
I think his name is Tony.
And he just takes it around in a backpack. He's getting stopped at security at YQR International. What is this?
Do you have any batteries?
It's the Vanier Cup. Do you not know it's the Vanier Cup?
Does that have any batteries in it? No, it's the Vanier Cup.
Do you have any liquids, sir, in your bag? Can we check you? Extra screening.
Let's get a picture of Tony in his satchel. Put it up for the people streaming. You can watch that stream. YouTube. We're looking for subscribers. Right? Because we're going to start rewarding subscribers at some point here. So if you haven't subscribed and you aren't watching the stream, YouTube, you can just go to sportscage.com. You'll find it there. So thanks to everyone who's done that already. Giveaway. Can we get it? First hour here? We're doing it first hour. If you want to go watch...
for anybody listening or watching, Colson just nodded his head, which really doesn't help the show a lot because there's no camera on him and there's a microphone, but with no sound, that was a yes, correct?
I have a camera on me. I'm doing lots of things, so sometimes all I get to give you guys is a nod.
Okay.
Waitress at Western Pizza today. Hot tip on the poppy positioning and how to... Because I lose poppy. I'm going to do a poppy. If you're not wearing a poppy, Remembrance Day is around the corner. Support the Legion. Drop a toonie, a loony, whatever in the bucket. I'm going to do a count this year on how many poppies I lose. There's just hard. Like, can we not come up with a better system?
So at school, for the kids where they go to school, they've turned into stickers, and then that way, like, because you end up losing them.
I'm all in on the sticker thing.
Yeah, and it was just it was a roll. They sent home, I think there was 5 a kid, and then they were just put them on, and they were pretty good. You could put them on multiple shirts. So I thought that's a really smart idea because a lot of times that pin falls out, you don't even notice, and then it's gone, and you're like, hey.
Especially when jacket time, like today, I didn't have to wear a jacket. But when jacket season is here and then you go through your car, you vacuum your car out in the spring, and it's like, oh, there's like 6 poppies here from November. I'm going to keep a count. Support your Legion. Wear a poppy. Colson, you kind of, if you're watching the stream here, I still got a little silver thing hanging out here, but I kind of did the thing. You put it through the poppy, right?
Yeah, so you put it through your shirt, but then you come back through the poppy.
Yeah.
So it's like locked into the poppy.
The old lock around.
Yeah.
Call it the old lock around. Maybe put up a...
the teacher who showed me in high school, she calls it poppy lock. That's her trademark.
Oh, what was her name?
Miss Robertson. Yeah.
Mrs. Robertson.
No,
Simon and Garfunkel.
There was Mrs.
song about her.
No, it was Mrs. Robinson, not Mrs. Robertson.
Oh, Robertson.
Mrs. Robertson.
Robertson.
Not Robinson. Robertson.
Robertson's nice tavern in Nashville on Broadway. No, it's Roberts. Man, I'm butchering that name.
So speaking of names, and because you have a unique name that probably gets messed up all the time. This morning, so if my real name's Chris, my last name's Mazurek. I've been called Maz all my life. That's the easiest way to remember. I'm a very forgettable person, so Maz is fine. I'm okay with that.
It's hard for me. Sorry, it's hard for me because I know two Mazes and a Baz.
Okay, but
2 Bazes.
Within a half hour this morning, I got Eric and Aaron. I don't know where that came from. Someone's like, "Oh, hey, Eric, how's it going?" I'm like, "Good." And then, like, in 20 minutes, I'm like, "Hey, Aaron." I'm like, "Oh, hey, yeah." And I'm not going to make anybody feel that somebody tried to call you by your first name, which I think is great because that's a lost art. As opposed to, "Hey, man, what's going on?" or "Buddy" or whatever. Somebody tried to call you. So, you being Barney, what's the most common one you get?
Barry.
It's Barry.
Barry. All day. I get Barry once a week. That's why it's kind of a running joke on the Monday Nooner. They have to call me Barry.
Okay.
Because we've interviewed people and they're like, "Well, yeah, no, it's right, Barry." And I'm like, "Sure." Go
and your
ahead.
name's on the bottom of the screen in video.
Go ahead.
Coulson,
run with it.
Coulson, do you get mistaken for anybody?
Yes, you would have to.
Yes, because Coulson's a unique name.
Can we guess?
You can guess, yeah.
Coulson, I'm going to guess...
Carrie?
I haven't gotten Carrie.
Calvin?
No, most commonly, it's Carson or Colton.
Colton.
Yeah.
Colton. Carson. I can see Carson.
Yeah. Those are the 2 that I've gotten, which growing up in school, there was a Colton in my grade throughout the whole time. So it never happened in school.
Mrs. Robertson called you Colton?
That was in high school, and I don't think she did.
Curtis, anybody? You ever get...
If you're watching the stream, Curtis he's on point today. He's on point. Let's just say that.
Curtis, nothing? You never got misnamed by anybody?
I usually get Chris a lot. It's like, "Oh, my name's Curtis." "Oh, whatever. Hey, Chris."
See?
It's like that Seinfeld episode when Kramer, Lily. You look like a lily.
But there are certain people, like, you can tell them their name once, they remember it forever, and there's other people you will meet instantly, they will tell you your name, and you forget instantly, and you're like, "Oh, man, what was that?" And you're the worst for introducing people, I gotta say.
Yes.
Like, when we'll walk up to somebody, Barney's having a 10-minute conversation, Barry, and I'm standing there, like, just invisible, and then just now they'll be done, they'll walk away, and be like, no, social skills, none. None.
This is my friend Aaron. Riders tomorrow.
But that's a good question for the text line. What is your name and what does it get mistaken for most commonly? Because the Barry Barney thing, the Eric Aaron thing's weird because when I say Chris, I'll get Kevin, Kyle, like anything kind of in that, so kind of that KCH range or whatever, but never anything like today. I was like, oh, okay.
I got I get Marty. That's an easy one.
Barney?
And Bernie.
Bernie.
Like, Bernie's probably the most common. And to be honest, I just let it roll. And if anyone calls me by the wrong name, I'm like, yeah, right on. How's it going?
Yeah, no, I didn't stop them either. I was like, you know what? That's totally fine. It didn't bother me.
Do you like Bud?
No. Pal, Bud, Commander, Chief, nothing. I hate that.
I'm bad for calling people Bud. Sorry to everybody out there that I call Bud. I'm awful for that. The one that I despise is Pal.
Yeah, Buddy and Pal rank right up there. There's nothing more disrespectful.
What, Shooter?
No, Shooter takes a little imagination.
Ace?
Buddy and Pal, Ace, that's old school. Like, no, it is. like commander.
Your dad would call guys ace.
Well, no, but that's different. But buddy and pal, I think, are the two most disrespectful these days. To be like, ooh, just like anything but.
My son calls me pigeon quite a bit. He'll be like, hey, you pigeon. Why didn't you do this?
I'll take hey or hey you over buddy or pal. Because that's almost like you're just looking to be disrespectful to get it started.
You want to go watch the Regina Pats play the Calgary Hitmen tonight. Both of these teams are very even, like record-wise. Pats trading Aramba yesterday. Rebuild, yes, but they're still trying to make the playoffs here.
Yeah.
And they're going to have a chance to make the playoffs. We got 2 tickets to give away. Text line. Text us, Maz. What did you say? You want people to, what, pal, buddy, name?
No, it was Eric or Aaron. No, buddy or pal.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy.
We'll take whatever you want to text in. 936-6262. But we're only doing it for the first hour. Then we're going to email you the tickets.
Hey, Colton, what are you laughing at over there?
Puck drop is 7 p.m. The Brent Center.
That one hurt. That one hurt a little bit.
That's never not going away now.
No.
You are forever Colton.
No. I don't know about you guys, but as someone with a lot of siblings, the worst ones are when you get called your sibling's name. Those are the worst ones.
No, the worst is when someone says, no, I won't even say that. That's going to open a whole can of worms. I have 3 older siblings.
Yeah.
And it was when you know this, it was ruthless growing up. There was no off limits for your brothers and sisters.
And then as your parents age, I'm sure I'm going to get there in the next few years here. You're always getting called your other sibling's name. Always. It's like, I'm not going to say my brother, my siblings' names and all that here, but all the time. And then now it's like the grandkids get mixed up, but it just happens with age.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, I have a few brothers who kind of look like me, so those ones I'm whatever. It's the other brothers where I'm like, really? You're calling me that name? Those ones are the ones that are insulting. And then he's like, hey, the heck, what did I do?
Look at 9 layers deep over there, yeah. Dr. Phil. We're getting him a session on the couch or whatever. We've hit a nerve. Colton.
Curtis looks absolutely confused. He looks like a Chris.
He's trying to keep his hands clean in this whole situation.
I love it, Dwayne. Dwayne and Pilot Butte. Shout out. Hey, pal. I tell you, I don't know. Josh Miller, speaking, hey, Josh Miller, people out there that know him, senior hockey savant, knows a lot. He's like the Elliot Friedman of senior hockey, knows a lot. Senior hockey starts tonight.
Whoa.
Actually in the Big Six.
Already? Who's got ice? In this economy, who's putting in ice before Halloween?
Well, that Mydale area down there. Lots of oil pumping.
Okay. All right.
It's good. Yeah. It starts tonight. Monday nooner senior hockey preview show is coming up next week. But Josh Miller always calls me pal. Okay, pal. Oh my God, Josh. And I think maybe he just does it now because I hate it so much, which is fine. I would rib too. Riders tomorrow. We're going to have voice of the Owls on Sean Campbell in a bit here to find out what they're doing. What is Montreal, like you said, they're dressing. What does he think? Are they going to play guys? All that. Can we be a Montreal Alouettes radio show today?
Yes.
Do you have any music that we could? Do the Owls have a song?
Well, we're not turning into a bomber show. I can tell you that much.
Let's get some smoked meat sandwiches in here. Let's ride. Let's get those horns. What are they called again?
The vuvuzelas.
Oh, vuvuzelas.
The giant mosquitoes, you mean?
We are rooting for the Montreal Alouettes tomorrow to beat the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Mike at Western Pizza today had one of the best ideas. Allegedly, it was shot down. Mike said, open up Mosaic earlier, give the beer special whatever.
$5 happy hour.
Sit in the Harvard 620 lounge, sit outside, put it on the Maxtron. Is it called the Maxtron? It's Astel Maxtron.
Put it on the Harvardtron, the giant screen.
And put the Montreal Winnipeg game on. CTV or TSN feed?
Well, whatever. People will be watching it on their phone anyways. Yeah, throw it on the screen and then make a day of it. Keep
the party going. Exactly. I think Mike, shout out, Western Pizza.
Savant.
Yeah, like what a great idea. And they didn't run with it. It's unfortunate. But yeah, everyone's going to be watching that game tomorrow, no doubt about it. Who they're going to play, anybody's guess. Maybe Sean Campbell will give us a little insight into that. But Dave Thomas, they did practice today. And of course, Dave caught up with the head coach earlier.
Coach, we're just over 24 hours away from your final regular season game of the season. Obviously, an opportunity to be playing for first in the West Division, albeit you need some help. If you don't get that help, do you have to safeguard your team from an emotional letdown?
No, I don't think so. We addressed it with some of the guys, prior, because that's kind of what you want to avoid. And, you try to put yourself in their shoes, and I just feel like give them a heads up of possibility, but really still encouraging everybody. Look, prepare yourself like, we're going to win a game, period. And that's everybody. We told them that early in the week. And then certainly, some of those guys that might be on the decision line, just had an open, honest conversation with them. But at the end of the day, however it goes, we're still just trying to win the game.
Now, you released your depth chart today. There are 4 players listed as game times decisions. Is that just foreshadowing of what potentially could happen out east before this game?
Yeah, that's probably the easiest way to put it. Yeah.
Also of note on the depth chart, no Anthony Lanier II. Is that concerning?
When you have a bunch of, good players at a position, you can only really play so many just as the roster goes. That's the decision that, I made this week. Certainly with the addition of Carney coming back, he's been out for a little bit. I just want to make sure, kind of giving him some reps before we get into a playoff game. But he's had a really good week of practice. And we'll see what that looks like for him come game day. And then as we push into, the playoff picture, really it gives us and allows us to have, all current eyes on everybody to put forth the best roster that we feel for us to win the game each week. So that's how it's rolling this week. And I'm excited to see the boys roll.
So as you play your final regular season game, is there anything that you need to find heading into the postseason?
It's not really just finding. It's just, I think, more fighting, complacency. We are in no position to be complacent with where we're at or what we've done. Really trying to house a playoff mentality, and truthfully, we kind of have on the back end of the season. The main thing is just we want to continue to take the next step based off of wherever we did. We set a bar for ourselves with our last game, Now this week we got to take another step. So that's what you focus on, is just to continually march through each week. And this week, we have our final game of the regular season. Another opportunity for us to keep pushing forward.
Now, should Winnipeg win and then clinch first in the West Division, how do you handle your quarterback reps?
Smart.
Now, we've talked a lot about basing tomorrow on what happens out east. Will you address the team? Obviously, you've said in the past this week that you're not going to be watching the game. It's 2024. I'm sure the players are going to find out. Do you address that with them, the outcome, and maybe discuss it before you head out onto the field?
I assume they'll know, depending on, I'm sure I'll get the news, obviously, before we break it down and we get out there. I'm assuming, one form or fashion, they'll figure it out, just like I'm sure somebody's going to tell me. But, I want these guys to stay in their routine because regardless of the outcome of another game, doesn't change the outcome that we're looking for our game. So, but once the news is shared, whatever it is, the message ain't going to be too different.
Well, let's get to the game at hand. And this week has been, a dialed-in week, I would suggest, using your terminology, because there was a huge compete period at the start of the week. The players, they've been having a good time here today. You can hear them. They're loud. They're energetic. How would you say that this week of preparation has gone?
I think it's important to still, you never want to lose that competitive nature. You kind of have to build that. It was a great week of practice from a competitive standpoint, I thought, and, offense versus defense. You just, you want that to parlay over into the game. So pleased with the week of practice and the preparation, but it's always going to come down to how you execute that on game day. So just looking forward to them and their opportunity.
I like, one thing about Coach Mace, I like his voice. He should voice commercials for Harvard. It's a deep voice. Really like it. In game day. I appreciate you. It's good. Like I would listen to that guy in a locker room.
So he's got the combo. He's got the look, that you're going to listen to them.
Roxette style?
No, but you're going to listen because that and then the voice. So, yeah. It's Obsidian Green Day tomorrow. Final time.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, no, this is the final time they'll be wearing them this season. So if you have Obsidian, I got my Obsidian hoodie ready to go.
I'm wearing it tomorrow.
Yeah, it's going to be it's football weather. It's going to be a little chilly, but it's jacket weather by the fourth quarter for
sure. And it should be. Did you?
Yeah, what's the weather, Colton? I just lost like
weather brought to you by Mrs. Robertson.
Oh boy. Saturday afternoon, supposed to be around 12, getting down to 6 in the evening. Sunday for the Thunder game, supposed to be 17 in the afternoon.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Unseasonable.
Yeah, picking up.
Say that. Sorry, Curtis is making funny graphics on the stream.
I love it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the afternoon Sunday.
17?
Yeah.
17.
For the Thunder game.
Open up the golf courses. 17. Go swing the wrenches before the Thunder game. I put that up again, Chris. What a goof. If you're watching the stream, lots of fun today.
If you're gonna text in the word clown, make sure you get the names right of who you're calling clown on the show today. Thank you to whoever texted that in yesterday.
The all-new SportsCage. Lots of fun watching that stream. SportsCage.com. When we come back, we're going to run down the hockey situation in the province and the area this week. And then, we got those Pat tickets, until the top of the hour. Then we're going to give them away. So text in. It's all new SportsCage and 620 CKRM. You want to go watch the Regina Pats tonight under the orange top? They are taking on the Calgary Hitmen. 936-6262 Capital Ford Lincoln text line. Saskatchewan's #1 Ford retailer. Capital Ford Lincoln Pats and Hitmen. We only got till the top of the hour. They're going to give those away. Elsewhere in the Western Hockey League this evening, Moose Jaw, they're starting their BC swing. They're in Kelowna. Saskatoon and Brandon, very interesting contest. I think Roger McQueen's still on the shelf for Brandon. Saskatoon, first place team in the East. Lethbridge, Swift Current, Seattle, Prince Albert. Those are the Sasky teams getting it going. Also, another curious one, Medicine Hat Red Deer. I'm curious when Medicine Hat's going to start turning it around, but they're up against Dave Strush's Red Deer Rebels.
Yeah, the Tigers picked by a lot of people just to be kind of like the runaway favorites when it comes to the Eastern Conference and the Western Hockey League or whatever, but then they start playing the games. Red Deer's always been, as long as Red Deer's been in the league and Sutter's been involved, they've always, even in their worst years, they've always been good.
Yeah, and now Strushy's there. Strushy knows a thing or two about hockey. Clutch performer for Nick Service in Emerald Park, your local Massey Ferguson Challenger, Rogator, Gleaner, and Fent dealer. You can call 781-1077. Adam Montaigne. For Team Saskatchewan, they dump Manitoba 5-0 earlier today. 44 saves for Montaigne, who plays for the Regina Pat Canadians. Former provincial champ with the Regina Pat Blues. So Adam Montaigne's our clutch performer for Nick Service. Saskatchewan, they're 2-1. Now they await to see how everything falls and how the playoff round is going to go at the WHL Cup. We'll get back to a little hockey in a bit, but let's talk football. Let's go out on the Western Pizza guest hotline. It's Friday, no need to cook. Grab a wheel from Western Pizza. I got the Greek pita today. It was fantastic. Colton, you went with the Monte Cristo?
Yes, Barry, that's what I went with.
And
steak sandwich over here.
Steak sandwich for Aaron. Western Pizza, it's always great. Sean Campbell, he's the play-by-play voice of the Montreal Alouettes, also of the Rocket Laval hockey team out there in Quebec. Sean, thanks so much for taking some time. I know you're calling a hockey game here momentarily. Everybody in Saskatchewan rooting for the Montreal Alouettes tomorrow against Winnipeg. Big question is, what do you think they do? What does Montreal do as far as they're dressing everybody? Does everyone play?
I think everyone's going to play. For how long, I'm not sure. I think they want to take this almost like a preseason game. Get Cody Fajardo out there with the #1 offense, have 2 good series. If Jason Moss feels good about it, then they're going to hold him. That's the way I look at it. They do not care about Saskatchewan or Winnipeg and who's going to be winning the West. They really don't. They care about themselves and feeling good about themselves, because the Alouettes, of course, we know that they started so strong, but of late, it's been a bit of a struggle offensively for this team to find that groove. Fajardo spent some time with his family, didn't practice, played only half last week. They do have the bye week coming up. So I think about it, the Owls are going to think of a preseason game. If they struggle the first two drives, they might stay in for the whole first half. But I don't expect them to play the whole game at all.
What do you think is the reason for the struggles as of late? What do you pinpoint there?
Well, there's a couple injuries to the receiving core, 100%. You sign Austin Mack, plays one game, gets hurt, has to wait, comes back. It's going to sit, doesn't do the Vancouver. So finding chemistry there, I think that took a while. Julian Grant was out. We know the injury to Phil Pott has changed things. So trying to figure out that chemistry with the receivers. The Alouettes are one of the more dangerous teams to go downfield, and that's how they really change games. Look, big plays across the CFL. They're the best. They have the most 30-yard receptions, and they give up the least. So the second half of the season, defenses just said, we're not letting you throw downfield. There just wasn't there. Double covered almost every single time. Two safeties staying back out there. So they have to find another way to find consistency with their drives. If you look in the first half, second down conversions were upwards of 55%. They're under 50% now. So those are a couple things that are slowing them down offensively.
Hey, Sean, so last year at this time, it's like a 180-degree turn. The Montreal Alouettes were playing meaningful football because they had to survive for their playoff lives. They end up winning the Grey Cup. This year, they've been in first place so long. We chatted about this on the show yesterday with Glenn Suter. There hasn't been a lot of meaningful football played, and you can't just turn it on or off, and you address some of the offensive issues. Darnell Sankey, Mustafa Johnson, that defense, and Noel Thorpe, have they been sort of the unsung heroes and kind of this inconsistency in the Alouettes in the past few weeks? The one thing that's kind of holding it together, although they haven't won all the games?
Yeah, their defense is still the bread and butter of this team. And it was interesting. They didn't have any defensive touchdowns until week 12 or 13 with all they scored last year. And they finally got one, but they didn't need to score like they did last year defensively to be so efficient. Teams can't get into the end zone. They get into the red zone, but then nothing happens against the Alouettes defense. This team, led by Sankey, Johnson, Tyrese Beverett, who has been outstanding, Deontay Ruffin, that's the core of Wes Sutton as well, that will really, really make a difference for the Alouettes for their playoff push. So that's what they really need to lean on. They're still going to lean on that in the playoffs 100%. So
why can't,
I will say that.
I was going to say, so why can't other teams figure out this Noel Thorpe defense, or does it just evolve so much subtly that they're always a step ahead of everybody else? Because we saw it here when they were in Saskatchewan. Yeah, we got in the red zone. Nothing happened. Maybe a field goal. That was it. How are they able to do this? There's only so many teams. Like, Noel Thorpe is not new. The scheme he's running is not new. Why can't anybody win against it?
Well, it's interesting because everybody goes, you got to run against the Owls because they look at their run defense. It's not that great. The Owls give up the run. They don't really care. They'll give you up. They'll let you take 5 yards on every throw. You can't go downfield against them. Again, I told you about big plays offensively. Defensively, all season long, they've given up, I think it's at 12 plays now. Big plays against them all season in the CFL.
12,
so,
wow.
No Thorpe, I don't quote me, it's 11, 12, or 13. It's around that. I'll know tomorrow morning before the game when I do all my prep. I'm prepping. I can tell you about the Rocket right now. But what I'm saying is, Noel Thorpe, you think that it's so complicated, but it really isn't. And I've seen teams try and do this. They try and go in the hurry up because he gives physical signs to call his defense. He doesn't call it in. He doesn't, he gives his signals. Defense reacts to it. So teams go into the hurry up, and they're trying to catch that defense off guard. That's an effect of. They know that they've been down every single pass, and having so many veterans on the defensive side allows them to adjust. The only thing that gets to them is when the offense doesn't stay on the field, they get tired in the third and fourth quarter because they don't substitute as like many other teams, and they don't have the depth like many other teams. When I'm getting my depth chart and getting ready, some teams like the BC Lions have 12, 13 backups on defense, where the Alouettes are, you got one extra linebacker, one extra defensive lineman, maybe two, and a couple extra DBs. That's about it. So it's really their starters that do everything.
This is a really good look behind the curtain. I like this. Okay, as far as the West go, as a guy who's got eyeballs in all the games, and I know you said they don't really care about Winnipeg and Saskatchewan, but when you look at it from the West, what team matches up, I guess, best against Montreal if it comes to that? Or what team would scare you out of the West if you were the Montreal Alouettes?
Well, the Alouettes have 4 losses this year. 2 are against Toronto, who I would be shocked they don't face in the East Final. I'm sorry. Ottawa, they're done. I think they're done. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to be very honest. And the other 2 losses are against the BC Lions. They lost to the BC Lions both times. So that's a team that I think that probably would scare them. And then if they face them again, it's going to be in BC. That'd be a tough proposition. Winnipeg's tough, and Winnipeg's not the same team that the Alouettes faced in week 1 of the season. We know the Winnipeg season and how that's gone. So I'm very curious of what I'm going to see in Winnipeg in Montreal tomorrow. And Saskatchewan, I will tell you, that's the team I don't know how they match up against the Owls. I'm so curious if we get that as a Grey Cup final. I mean, we're going to be able to flash back to the 13th man. It's going to be so much fun.
Oh, no.
I was like, down on the... I'm telling you, first Grey Cup I covered was in Calgary. I was down field level after being at the media was upstairs. I went down field level, and I was just a reporter at the time. The kick went up, and I saw the flag go up at the same time. I was like, if he's throwing that flag now, they have too many men on the field, and the celebrations, they have to bring everything back. That was nuts. So we're gonna relive that if we get the Grey Cup.
Sean, there's a guy named Mike.
Sorry if I just relived it for everyone.
Yeah, no. There's a guy named Mike McCullough who has a flip phone. Careful if you end up back in town. There's a guy named Darian Durant, right? And there's a lot of people that are because we had an event on Labor Day weekend, and we got a bunch of ex-players together, and they talked about that 2009 Grey Cup and how it still haunts them to this day. So for you to reopen the wound like that, come on, hey,
my favorite story of that is he was working. This guy I knew worked for Reebok, and he had the championship hats. And he opened the box and he started handing them out on the Saskatchewan sidelines. And he had to go around and grab. He chased down 7 hats that he had handed off because he didn't see the flag. That's my favorite story of that. He tells me to this day.
I would like that guy's number. We'd like to interview him at some point.
I'm comfortable with that job.
If we go back. Like you said, you're a busy guy. You're calling the Rocket against Utica. Tonight it's Rocktoberfest.
What?
It's Rocktoberfest.
Yes.
It's at Place Bell.
I don't know if you can hear it. It's like German music in the background going on right now.
Like Rammstein?
Got that, German vibe. Yeah, no, different
vibe. Like Oktoberfest
like you're
music.
At Oktoberfest.
I know.
Like the accordion.
I know. I was joking. Yes. Rammstein. Who's it? Like looking at that roster, just out of curiosity, that's an exciting team. Exciting team to watch. Some pretty good young, like Owen Beck, right? Some pretty young studs on that team.
That's a fun player. Yeah, he's got off to a pretty good start, and it's his first year. And the other player that I think at least Habs fans are excited about is Philip Machar. Everybody knows Juraj Slafkovsky drafted first overall, but in that first round, the Canadians drafted one of his best friends, Philip Machar, and he's been out in the CHL for a long time, but he's finally making his pro debut, and he leads the team in scoring already, 5 points.
Right on. Well, appreciate you doing this. I know you're calling a hockey game tonight. Hopefully you get a Stein after the game.
I saw that in the graphic. This would be an all-timer if, you know how sometimes they do sporting events and it goes all wrong? Could you imagine if they were handing out beer glasses for Rocktoberfest tonight and it got a little wild because people were like cheersing or whatever?
Yeah.
To be like the one and only Rocktoberfest.
Sean, have a good call.
It would happen in Laval.
Yeah. I like the casino out there.
That's good.
Laval. Been there. Sean, thanks so much. Have a good call tonight, and let's do this again.
Have a good one, guys. Thanks.
Right on. Sean Campbell, voice of the Montreal Alouettes. Really good look behind the curtain there about the Owls. We don't give a rip what are you going to do against us?
Yeah, and that Noel-Thorpe defense. But the best part of that interview, if you only caught part of it, you can always go back and listen to the podcast where he just rips open the wound from 2009 that is still there for a lot of people in Rider Nation. And I'll still say it was the eeriest sound I've ever heard because there was no sound. You had 34,000 people filing out of a football stadium, and you could have heard a pin drop. No one said anything.
I mentioned this before, and not to bring up, not to be morbid or whatever, but my dad passed away just a few days before that. He was a diehard Rider fan, and it was almost like, I think it's because he might have broke something, a picture window in the old 632I South. Like that. It's hard. It's hard to, the hat story though.
Oh, man. Could you imagine? You had to go chase down players who just thought they won the Grey Cup and take a hat off their head? Like, these are guys running at the highest of emotions. And you're like, so I'm sorry. I'm going to need that hat back.
You want to go watch hockey tonight? Regina Pats, Calgary Hitmen, 936-6262. You legit have 15 minutes left. It's funny. People are chiming in. Hey, bud. Hey, pal. Hey, Aaron. Hey, Eric. They're sending in weird names. If you've been listening to the whole show, you get that joke. It is the all-new Sports Cage on the home of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, 620 CKRM. Oh, high school football, all kind of football. It's that time of the year. Big game in Regina yesterday. City Championship trophy handed out in the 5A.
FW Johnson Wildcats beating the Tom Trojans 44-2. Ouch.
We were at Western Pizza South. Shout out Spiro and Mike today, and LeBoldus was in having their team lunch.
Oh,
some big boys.
Barney got a picture. Barry got a picture of the team out. Little pregame meal, team bonding.
Yeah, a really good idea. LeBoldus at 5:15. They take on the number 1 ranked Miller Marauders at Mosaic Stadium, and then at 7:30, Campbell up against Riffle. Shout out, NOD. Around the horn. We got this email, hi, as in HI, at sportscage.com. Thanks to everyone who sent in info about high school football, 6-a-side, 9-a-side, 12-a-side. We got this lengthy email today.
I know, when I saw that, I'm like,
and I'm not sure if I should shout out the gentleman's name, but should I? No, I'll leave it. You know who you are if you're listening. I'm not sure if I should shout your name out here. But he sent us some in-depth look behind. When you look at that Clavette Wynyard game coming up, so I didn't know. Clavette's an absolute powerhouse in 6-a-side. He's saying they probably should look at moving 9-a-side because they're just so powerful. They got 35 players compared to Wynyard's 25. Wynyard's relies on 8 guys. Clavette's got the advantage in this one, but hey, it's football. Anything can happen. So a little of David and Goliath setting up there, Clavette and Wynyard. Lumsden, they're in 9-man. They're always a wagon. Yeah. They have 11 and 12. They should be almost going to 12-man. I think a lot of people are thinking too. They're solid as well. Balgoni, they're always good. QPAR Saudi, Highway 22 Storm, they host Watrous. He thinks, this gentleman, Mr. X, he thinks this could be the one to watch. Could be to Watrous is going to give Highway 22 all they can handle. What else you got over there?
Let's see. Shaunavon tomorrow. Let's see. So we got Waka Unity. This is 6-man. Watrous Southie. Wynyard Clavette. Creighton at Rosetown. Ooh, that's a long drive.
Creighton's banged up too, allegedly.
Allegedly. Fort Capel,
as far as hurt.
Fort Capel's at Melfort. Humboldt at Lumsden. Shaunavon at Delisle. And Tisdale at Melville. Should be a nice day for football tomorrow. All of those games will kick off tomorrow at 1 o'clock. And then also at Libel in Regina, South Rural League, Moose Jaw Central is taking on Balgoni. And that's going to be a 2:30 kickoff.
Shout out to Scott Schultz.
Yeah, Schultzy.
Is he coach?
Coaches at Greenall.
Greenall Griffins. My alma mater.
Colton's a former alma mater.
Oh, don't worry. They spelled my name that way in the yearbook a couple times.
If you've missed the first 20 minutes of the show, and who had the best text here?
There's so many, but Kevin P. He texted in. He goes, "Hey, bud, it's your old pal Ace. Can I get the Pat tickets?"
Nice.
Yeah, that was a good one. 936-6262.
We were talking about, this happens to everybody. You say your name, you introduce yourself, and somebody calls you a completely different name. What do you get mistaken for? I got a couple of random ones today. Barney gets Barry.
The best thing is just to not introduce the other guy.
Oh, that's you to a T. And what was this yesterday when you texted in that if we win the Kennison Super Draft, you're giving it to charity? And like
That's
I said,
always been the deal.
I have said, I want to see your tax returns for the past 5 years. I want to see how much you've given to charity. Because you're not going to start now, Barry.
I have on VHS the recordings, Tell a Miracle, my name across the bottom. Every year.
If it's, I'm sorry, but you got to keep your...
Shout out Brad John or Beverly Mahood.
Your CRA taxes for 7 years because they can go back and audit you. So if it's in a VHS era, it doesn't count.
Not if you fake your own death. We got shifting from Friday Night Lights. Oh, shout out Regina Motor Products.
Yes, thank you for being the sponsor of Friday Night Lights all season.
$20 off your tire changeover at Regina Motor Products, and they love supporting high school football.
Are we still on?
We got about a minute and 40.
So last night, I predicted this. The Rams would have beat the Vikings. And Arash Madani's coming up after 4. God, he's going to be salty. The face mask seen around the world, except by the one referee who was standing 5 feet away from it in the end zone. It was beautiful, you Vikings fans. You always know how to break everyone's heart.
It seemed super crooked. Arash hasn't even talked to us today. Usually Arash is all chatty on when he's coming onto the show. He hasn't said a thing today. So he's sad.
College football, and here's the thing. You want to talk about paper champions? The Oregon Ducks are the #1 team in college football. Play a real team. That beats somebody real.
Ohio State.
No, they're playing Illinois, the number 20. Georgia's
they beat Ohio State.
Penn State playing, Ohio State plays Nebraska. Number 5, Texas. Playing Vanderbilt in Nashville. Could you imagine if Vanderbilt beats Texas? Those poor goalposts are going down Broadway again. They're going to end up at Jason Aldean's or Morgan Wallen's bar, and then in the river.
Broadway's become too packed on Friday and Saturday nights. If anyone's going to Nashville, I'm a Vegas guy.
First world problems. Vegas guys on the other side here, a little too packed in Nashville these days. Curtis. Hey. Let's log into Expedia, change the travel plans. We're going to Vegas. Nashville's too busy.
If you talk, 9 out of 10 berries agree. Nashville, too packed Friday and Saturday nights. It is the all-new Sports Cage, Maz, Shank, and the Double C's. When we come back, after news, Arash Madani. You got 1 minute left if you want to go to the Pats game. 936-6262. We'll be back after news with Arash. An hour in the books. We got another hour coming up here. We got Arash Madani standing by. We are going to talk to Regina Thunder stud Stephen Smith as they get ready for the national semifinal. We got to talk about that Okanagan thing at some point too. They're like chartering a plane here for fans.
Oh yeah, the Okanagan Sun. They're
plane.
Yeah,
airplane.
An airplane. And it's funny, all of the plane, hotel, tickets to the game, and then pizza after the game. I'm like, well, that's nice, but that's,
better be Western. If you're coming to Regina, like you got to get Western pizza, right? Yeah, $750. I wonder if there's any seats available to just go back, deadhead back to go swing the clubs for a few days and then come back. $750. People are hopping on an airplane coming to Regina to watch the Okanagan Sun, Regina Thunder.
But the best part, the neatest part about that's the passion for junior football in this country, that people would do that. I mean, it will never be at the level of like we see at Alabama or Tennessee or anything like that. But the passion here, and if there is that 1,000 to 1,400 Sunday at Leibel Field, like Murad was talking about yesterday, wow, what an atmosphere it's going to be.
I was going to say it echoes the wealth that's in that Okanagan region as well, that we are going to charter a plane to.
Yeah.
750 smackers and you're on the plane.
Or it's somebody's plane and they're like, yeah, we'll charter it out. Yeah, no, it's good. My wife's not using it this weekend to take her friends to Vegas. Yeah, well, we can charter it out to go watch some football in Regina.
Palm Springs.
Yeah.
Probably a big Palm Springs. That's what I strike. Yeah, so that game, 1 o'clock, Stephen Smith going to join us here in hour 2 from the Regina Thunder. Curtis is over there talking. Do we have him?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
The all-new Sports Cage and Coast to Coast with Arash Madani is brought to you by Smart Investing Solutions. Be smart with your money. Call Brian Golly at Smart Investing Solutions, 546-2533.
All right. Let's start this, Arash, with
the face mask seen around the world except by the referee standing 5 feet away in the end zone.
You didn't talk to me today at all. Not a text message. Or no, there was one earlier just about the time. Nothing else, though. I was like, dude must be super sad.
I wouldn't say sad. I'd just say pissed. You know what I find amazing? And look, the Vikings did not lose because of that face mask call. They were dreadful on offense for most of the second half. And I felt that Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp just were wide open on every play. But we now live in a world of roughing the passer where if you glare at somebody angrily, they throw a flag.
Shout out Winnipeg.
Darnold gets the hand in the face mask. They twisted his neck in the end zone. I just don't understand how that's missed by everybody.
It's a really good point. In this day and age,
I know.
And usually, we know what happens. This isn't tinfoil hat Barry here. This is real. They'll get a radio. They'll get it down in the headset. It'll be like, hey, absolutely missed a face mask. Throw it.
Yeah, but that's the difference between if that was Matthew Stafford, that's a flag being thrown. It's Sam Darnold, and they're not on the same level. So that's the reason why.
If it was Aaron Rodgers, the defender would be in handcuffs and sent to the local precinct.
I know.
But Aaron's body language would be just lovely.
Yeah. I saw the play happen live like a lot of people, and I'm like, did he get him in the shoulder or the face mask? I'm like, well, there's no flag. It must have been the shoulder. And then I opened my phone and Twitter, and within, 30 seconds, there's 40 different posts with all the different angles, videos, still shots, whatever. I'm like, no, that was a face mask. And that was a good face mask. He got him good.
Because they twisted the neck. Sam Darnold's going to be sore leaving that plane, middle of the night when they landed in Minnesota last night.
How should Vikings fans feel today, though, as far as
same old?
How the team is, with another loss?
Well, it's not just the other loss, fellas. They just lost their all-pro left tackle for the season to knee surgery. Christian Darrisaw went down just before the half on a meaningless play. And I have seen this script so many times before. We're 5-0, bless you. Barry, 5-0 can turn into. That's enough out of you, Aaron. 5-0 can turn into.
He's been listening.
It can turn into 6-4 in a hurry. That's all.
So Arash, okay. So in the first hour of the show, if you weren't listening, we were talking about getting your name mistaken for something else. Arash is a very unique name. What do you get mistaken for when people get your name wrong? What are some of the other ones you get?
Are you okay? How much time do you have?
Well,
so I have heard Farhan. I've heard Shy.
Okay.
I've heard Adnan.
Okay. So all
I've
other
heard
sports guys.
Amir.
Sports guys.
Yeah. Oh, you're the brown ethnic-looking dude I've seen on my TV once upon a time. But my favorite one of all, I was at a Christmas party, and some guy just stopped in his tracks, pointed at me, and yelled, Ahmad Rashad. And I'm like, what? So I Google Ahmad Rashad. He was born in the 40s. He was a receiver in the NFL. I'm more left guard than wide receiver. And he's black. What are you talking about? I didn't interview Michael Jordan for, 6 years on the NBA on NBC. I guess I wish I had, but.
Nice. Well, I think your Ahmad Rashad story tops my Aaron and Eric and good old Barry over here. Anyways, here's the part about the Vikings. So they were 5-0, and because of the short week, they're a quick 5-2, and you're saying they could be 6-4 before you know it. And this is Vikings. The Vikings, like the Raiders and the Cowboys, they know how to break the fans' hearts. And it's funny. I had picked the Rams yesterday, and here's the part about the Rams. They beat the Vikings, a good team. Watch them go play their next game and get blown out and look absolutely terrible again. But for whatever reason, they get up for these games when nobody expects anything out of them, and then they play well. And then they're going to just drift away and turn into the so-and-so Rams again.
So I'm with you, except let me throw this scenario at you too. The Rams started 1-4. Then they have their bye week. Now they've won 2 in a row, and they get Nakua and Kupp back. They have a long week before playing the Seahawks. Like, this is an NFC West where, honestly, San Francisco feels like it's coming apart at the seams at 3-4 with all their injuries. You have Arizona. Are you really going to bet on Kyler Murray? And then the Seahawks, like, could the Rams suddenly go from 1-4 to being in some kind of division conversation?
Yes.
Right? Because they're 3-4 and the division leader's 4-3. And no one's any good.
Well, I think only rivaling that is the NFC East to be what trash is in the NFL this year.
Yeah.
Oh. Whoa. Pittsburgh's a 6-point favorite against the New York Giants. I get it.
Yes.
Pittsburgh, their defense is really good. Russell Wilson probably starting.
Yes.
Are they for real? Obviously, they're not getting Cooper Kupp now.
Right.
Yeah, I don't.
No one's getting Cooper Kupp.
I just don't. What's your legit take on Pittsburgh? Are they for real? Or we need? I think I need 3 games of Russell Wilson at least.
Yeah, and I think that's the right call. Like, my take on Pittsburgh is insufficient funds, incomplete, not quite sure.
Shout out high school.
That's right. High school. Shout out the first 5 years of my career in the media business. What do we really know about the Steelers' offense? I'm just, yeah. It's... But here's the thing. They have a little bit of runway with their record now. Being 5-2 puts them in a really good spot to try to have to figure it out, especially when you get Cleveland twice, who doesn't have a quarterback.
What am I... Sorry, you want to go on that one?
Well, yeah. So here's the thing about the Pittsburgh Steelers. The one thing, and it's funny, you forget about them. Sometimes you go, wow, Najee Harris is a really good running back. And then there's other games where he's not used or he disappears. And George Pickens, if that's a 50-50 ball, Pickens is a dog. And he seems to, and we saw it in last game, he's making those catches. The Steelers, and they always have been, whether, some quarterback troubles the past couple of years, they've usually always been solid. And so... like with Harris there, and it's funny, the quarterback thing, whether Russ is going to cook for another 2 or 3 games.
Renegade blaring through the speakers.
They go back to Justin Fields. So, yeah.
What did I miss? And this is a legit question. I got a lot of things going on in the noodle in my life and all that. What did I miss that the Jets are a 1-point favorite against Houston?
How?
I don't know. I mean... part of it is the Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams thing? Part of it's the New York quote-unquote bias.
That usually doesn't sway bookies.
Yeah, I don't know.
I looked at it and I'm like, I don't know. I lost 2 farms last night betting on your Vikings. So I don't even know what I got left, but I'm going to put whatever I got left, a Quonset, on Houston there. Like, I can't see it.
Well, and it came out today. So on the show yesterday, I had mentioned to Dave and the Double C's that after the game, and Devontae Adams has only been there 72 hours, he addressed the team after they lost that game, which I'm like, whoa, bud, slow down. And then today it came out, did you see that quote? Aaron Rodgers said it was some of the best messaging he's ever heard from a football player to a team. If you're one of the older players on the Jets that maybe is like, hold on, what is happening here? Because this is turning into the Aaron Rodgers friends and family fest.
Yeah.
And that can't be playing well with the other, there's 53 on a roster, the other 51 guys who maybe are shaking their head going, what are we doing here?
So I'll give you 2 thoughts on this. One is my own, and one, I watched the game last night with a buddy of mine who used to play offensive line in the CFL for like 7 or 8 years. So my thought is the New York Jets in the last 3 or 4 weeks have basically checked off every box on the Remember the Titans, Varsity Blues, Friday Night Lights bingo card. They have fired the coach. They have had the quarterback come out and blame everybody else. They have traded for the star player. And now they've had the impassioned speech. The only thing they're missing is a players-only meeting, right? Like they're
and the whipped cream bikini if we're going to do Varsity Blues.
Things change, Marks. So,
Ahmad.
What my buddy said. Yeah. Well, my buddy said, again, this is the guy who played professional football for a number of years. He said, I honestly can't believe that nobody on the Jets sideline has punched out Aaron Rodgers yet. I was like, whoa.
I'm
like, really? He's like, that dude is destroying that franchise. He's destroying that locker room. He's like, I get that Devontae Adams is a really good player and maybe the best at his position. What's Devontae Adams ever won? What's Devontae Adams ever done to come in there and start blasting guys within 5 minutes of walking into the locker room?
What is it? What's the old saying?
I thought that was all really interesting.
Walks like a duck. Sounds like a duck.
Yeah, because remember a couple years ago in Vegas, it was Josh McDaniels that was 100% of the problem and nobody else. And Devontae Adams was one of those guys where they'd go to him for a comment, non-comment or whatever. And McDaniels gets fired last because he's getting paid. It doesn't matter. But now we find out maybe it wasn't all Josh McDaniels. Maybe there was more to the story because look what happened when Antonio Pierce comes in. We got the same thing, and now it's with the Jets. So if you're a Jets fan, you're used to having a rough life, and you win nothing. But, man.
Woody.
Yeah.
But here's the question now, fellas. How many more cards do you have left to play?
None.
If you're the Jets and Aaron Rodgers. I don't know.
And Robert Sala's loving life. Do you see him? He's at Packers practice because him and LaFleur are best friends, and he's going to he's coming on staff for the rest of the season to help the offense. Good for him.
Baseball World Series tonight.
Dun dun dun.
What a matchup! You know, like
what a matchup.
You got the first World Series. I think I read 2 50 home run sluggers in it. Obviously, with Judge 58, Ohtani 54. What are you making of this series, Arash?
I think that this is going to be a series, maybe not necessarily tonight. I think like the 9 days off is going to affect some of the hitters with their timing, etc. But I think especially as this series gets into it, games 2, 3, the Dodgers are going to go to the bullpen game at least once. This is a series where overs are going to cash. This is a series where offense is going to really be on display. These are 2 pitching staffs that are running on fumes. Even the great Garrett Cole, like even he's kind of struggling right now. Like the Yankees need to get 2 quality starts from Cole. But I think what you're going to see, again, tonight may be a little bit of an anomaly, maybe not. But I think you're going to see a lot of offensive baseball over the next week or so.
Yeah, they haven't played in the World Series since 1981. Yeah, tonight, Garrett Cole for the Yankees, Jack Flaherty for the Dodgers. So you think when it comes to starting pitching, because, the Dodgers have done this. Well, they'll do the bullpen game. Right? We don't care if we're using 5 or 6 arms. But if you had to pick who has the better of the starting pitching, is it the Yankees? Because keep in mind, when Garrett Cole's on, he looks great. But then there's those Garrett Cole games. If he gets lit up by the end of the second inning, he's out. He's gone from the game. Like, it's nuts.
On paper, I would still say the Dodgers. The only kind of wild card in this is we just don't know if Yamamoto is going to go 4 innings or 6 or 7. And look, they paid him over $300 million. Presumably for times like this, but just because of his situation this year, he really only had 1 big quality October start. So here, and like I can't remember a lineup ever that gives as much protection to a hitter like Giancarlo Stanton as having Juan Soto and Aaron Judge right there. So if the Dodgers starters get run early, those Yankee hitters are going to get real comfortable learning about those bullpen arms. And I think if this series goes 6 or 7, it becomes advantage New York in the back half of the series if the Dodgers starters aren't able to go deep in games.
$1,000 you're getting into that game, Canadian. I'm just looking up some aftermarket tickets.
That's a lot of tickets available.
Oh yeah, there'll be a ton.
Yeah.
Like, it's game 1 of the World Series. And Chavez Ravine, I don't know what it holds. Huge.
Who's singing the national anthem? This is a random
huge.
question. Who's singing the national anthem tonight? Is anybody? The Jonas Brothers? Anybody good?
Paula Abdul.
I don't know. I know
you see
Oral
Paul-
Hershiser's thrown out the first pitch.
You know who definitely it isn't? Anybody from Sawyer Brown or Shenandoah.
Because they're in Moose Jaw this
They're
week in Arash, in case you're wondering. And we will, maybe in hour 3 of the show, we're going to get into everybody's favorite Shenandoah and Sawyer Brown songs. But it ain't them.
Arash doesn't strike me as.
Do they have a tune named Aaron and Barry?
Yeah, no. Oh,
That's a good idea. We could DM the band and be like,
I think it's Eric and Barry.
Eric and Barry. Eric B. and Rakeem. Great band. Great group in the 90s, hip hop. Or maybe it was 80s. Okay, have a good weekend, Adnan. And let's catch up.
Go.
Let's catch up again next week.
Real quick. Who wins tomorrow? Winnipeg or Montreal?
Speaking of
Winnipeg does, but I'm really hoping for Montreal.
Yeah, we're all Alouette fans here in Rider
Viva la
Nation.
Quebec.
That was Curtis.
What was it? Was that?
I'm not sure what accent that was.
Listen,
it was great.
In 2024,
Don't worry about it.
In 2024, we should stay away from any kind of accents on public broadcasting. Yeah, we'll just
let's go Montreal.
Yeah.
What do you think happens?
I think Winnipeg's going to win. I think Montreal's injuries are going to play a factor. But I tell you what, if the Bombers lose this game, these West playoffs are going to be the spiciest I can remember in a while.
Are you going to come out this way?
I'll actually look into it. Leave it with me, because I owe the crew some Western pizza and some Lucky Loggers that Curtis reminds me of
just
all
me.
the time.
It was just me.
No,
it was just Barry.
No.
Barry only looks out for one guy, Barry.
Yeah, we know that. We know that.
Okay, next
Colton will second that.
Next week. See ya. Coast to Coast with Arash Madani.
We didn't,
Brian Golly.
We didn't get into. I wanted to get Arash's take on the Cowboys and the 49ers this weekend. Not that there was going to be anything there or any earth-shattering news, but
it's a real interesting game.
It is a real. Here's the thing. Now the Cowboys, if they don't come through, here's the good part about the Dallas Cowboys. If they win, we win because of the internet. If they lose, we win because of the internet. The internet stays undefeated. And Sharky, if you're listening, if you're out there shooting some poor, harmless animal, whatever it is, in season, out of season, with a ticket or without a ticket, here's the thing. I think if the 49ers lose this game, it's more detrimental to their season because if the Cowboys just keep in the free fall, no one's shocked. But for the 49ers, who had such high expectations, if they don't beat the Cowboys, this could really throw a wrench. Although the NFC West sucks, they really get behind the 8 ball here. So
4-point favorite.
The 49ers?
Yeah.
And they should be. Let Dak cook.
Let Dak
set off the fire alarm.
That was cool. That was Colson.
And they lost on Jerry Jones's birthday that game. That was so embarrassing. That was awful.
Yeah. Anyway, we got football talk on the local level coming up. It is Okanagan and Regina Sunday, 1 o'clock at Leibel Field. We're going to talk to the defensive stud, one of them, on the Regina Thunder, Stephen Smith. It's the all-new Sports Cage. Watching that stream. Thank you very much at sportscage.com. So much football going on. It's like it's been like 3 hours of football, or it's going to be 3 hours of football today. All new Sports Cage. Welcome back. The C's are on the other side of the board. Maz just stepped away for a second. We talked about it though. Regina Thunder, Okanagan Sun, Sunday, 1 p.m. Leibel. So, talk about exciting. We had Murad on yesterday. They're expecting a sellout. So if you haven't got tickets, got to get your tickets before. It's going to be an electric atmosphere tonight with the Rams playing there. It's going to be electric. Joining us, we had him on before, Western Pizza guest hotline. Get yourself a Western Pizza wheel tonight. The number 2 is always a favorite around these parts. Stephen Smith joining us. Hey, you know what? Let's go back. Finally, right? You knock off the Hilltops. Tough to beat a team 3 times. They found that out. Take us through your feelings after that game and kind of slaying the guys from up north.
Well, it's a great feeling. Anytime you beat the Tops, they're always a great team, and they're always going to give you a challenge, no matter when you play them. So to break through that team in such a big game, it's always a great feeling.
What's the team doing, if there is something? What is the team doing right now after that Hilltops game? Do you feel as a leader out there?
Just confidence in ourselves and playing our game, not playing our opponent's game and worrying about us, and the game kind of takes care of itself from there.
Defensive side of the ball, it sounds like this running back for Okanagan, right? We got a key on him. You got to have your head on a swivel, as they say. What do you know about him? What do you know about the son offensively?
Yeah, we've dove into the film here pretty good this week on a quick turnaround where you get film from a team that you haven't seen all year, right? So you dive into it. Been watching a lot the last couple of days, and he's a good running back. He runs hard. He reads things well, and he makes plays that seemingly aren't there in lots of games out there. So we'll definitely have to contain him and work to shut down that run game they have.
Is there anything, in your junior football career that you can equate what they're going to throw at you guys to?
The Hilltops have historically loved to run the ball. So, Boston Davidson was quite the running back as well. We played him for quite a few years. So I'd say that would probably be, assuming what would be the closest.
As a leader on the defense, for you guys, maybe it's the veterans, maybe it's somebody that, younger on the team. Who's stepped up? Maybe let's give some shout outs here. Like I know we don't want to single guys out, but who's playing best ball of the year right now?
Everyone, to be honest. The defense has been doing a great job. Selwood is one of the guys that jumps out on that D-line. Johnny Campen, he has really stepped up. He's a young guy. We had some injuries to D-line. He stepped up, and he's been phenomenal on the D-line. He has a motor like you'll never see. There's quite a few times where he'll be on the ground, he'll get up and make a tackle. The linebackers have been great. Like Mitchell Tanchuk has had a phenomenal year. I can't even put into words how much he's grown over the years, and he's had a phenomenal year. He was probably more deserving of that linebacker award than me, and the defensive player award than me. He's been doing great. Kenton F is always a stud at the dime. Zach and my Will, he's been doing great all year, and then the DBs have done a phenomenal job stepping a few weeks too.
Right on. Good shout outs there. I love it. In a game like this, there's going to be ebbs and flows. Could happen at the beginning. Something weird could happen either side of the ball. Good for you, bad for you. As a leader, what are you going to say to the guys? Like, no, you want to come out fire and you want to come out with that emotion, but not too high, not too low, right? Like, stick the game plan for 60 minutes.
Yep, and that's been our focus for a couple of weeks. That was one of the things that we really focused on turning around. I feel like the last regular season game we played against Hilltops where we lost, that was a big focus, was learning from leaders all the way down to the rookie to learn how to reset and have that next play mentality, and then one mistake isn't going to cost you the whole game, right? So you got to make sure you make that play next time. So that was a big focus for us, was just having that next play mentality, and that comes from the leaders making sure everyone's following suit.
If anyone's joining on the stream right now, Stephen Smith defensive all-star from the Regina Thunder. You see that he's joining us again from Mosaic Stadium because he practices with the Riders as well. Any of the Riders, talking to you, words of encouragement, all that kind of stuff. Obviously, Logan Ferland, former Thunder, all that. What are the guys at the big club been saying to you this week?
I've gotten quite a few words of encouragement and some advice for big games, and then lots of congratulations for winning the PFC. Obviously, I think there was an article on Facebook the other day. I broke down the team or whatever at the end of practice, and lots of guys have been congratulating me, especially the linebacker room. Like first day back here, we had a day on Monday, I think it was, and as soon as we started a meeting at 8 a.m, they were all congratulating me and asking about my stats and how the game went. They're awesome. They've been following it all along.
If you could take one snippet of, like you talked about, the words of encouragement that you've gotten from those leaders, what's one thing that you can take and tell us about?
Just kind of take control and be that leader, right? And use my voice on the field to keep guys going, and then make the most of these big games. Like these are what you play football for, is playing games like this. So make the most of it.
Whole town of Lemberg going to be at the game Sunday, maybe?
I think my mom said they have about 20 some tickets already booked. So there you go.
Right on. Well, go get it, right? It's exciting. Like you said, in a blink of an eye, you're going to be our age. You're going to look back on this. So it's not going to come around very often. Super exciting. Best of luck Sunday. And let's get on to that national championship, right?
Sure, that's the plan. Thank you very much.
Stephen Smith from the Regina Thunder, 1 p.m. Sunday, kickoff, Leibel Field. It's going to be awesome. This is the all-new Sports Cage. Time for a quick break. If you're watching that stream, you saw him there. It's on sportscage.com, and as always, we're on the home of football in Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM. Lots of chirps on the Capital Ford Lincoln text line, out in YouTube. If you're watching the stream, personal cell phones, it's nasty today on this Friday.
There's feisty, I would say, would be a good word to describe what's happening. Everyone has got, besides a nickname today on the show, everyone seems to be...
Is this product placement if you're watching the stream right now?
Sorry. Hey, no freebies, no free shout-outs, right?
Not for them.
Why not?
Just for some. Well, because they just not
Sorry,
for them.
Listen, I was in the moment. I'm not a show prep guy. I was just in the moment, and I was just, I picked the coffee up.
Southie Mainline Chrysler, the new king of trucks, half hour up the road, worth the drive every time, guaranteed. They got the cash back on the Jeep Cherokees. They have the I think 15,000 off Ram 1500s, maybe 18,000. The game of the worth the drive game of the week, SJHL, when we had Benny Walchuk on the SJHL report, Melville at Weyburn. That goes down tonight. Melville's number one. Weyburn surging 2 points back of Melville. So just down the road. And Weyburn had their Jeremy Roenick.
Yeah, they did it last night. And when you had JR on the other day, God, he's just a cool dude. Like, he would have been a great teammate.
Really good.
Forget what on the ice. Boys, where are we going after the game? Oh, don't worry. I already have all that lined up. Could you imagine?
Chelios and Roenick.
Oh.
Like, if you're Dirk Graham, things are taken care of. Darren Pang. Who else was on those old Blackhawk?
Roenick's just one of those guys, and I've seen him in person at an event. People gravitate towards him. It's just his personality. I like, what is it, the Stars and Stripes podcast he does with former referee Tim Peel. It's good because they're both retired. They pull no punches. They can speak openly. It's really good. And just JR, it's good when he has a voice. And it's funny how he talks about how he truly has an affinity for Saskatchewan, and he likes it because of the people.
He really, like, it's true. When we had him on the Monday Nooner, the one, like, he went off on Saskatchewan, how great, how he loves it. Now, if he had to move here, he lives in like Laguna Beach or San Diego or wherever.
He lives in Newport or something like that.
Newport, that's where it is. Elsewhere in the SJHL, Yorkton gotten some hot water.
Them cheating Terriers.
Wouldn't go that far.
But here's the thing, and I'm glad that we clarified. because it's not the kid's fault, that once the paperwork was settled, he still gets to play with the team. Because when you had said, and I bought hook, line, and sinker, where you're like, no, he's banned from hockey forever. I was like, what? That's not his fault. He's not supposed to fill out the paperwork.
Whose face? Was it your face or whose was it?
Yeah, you said you looked at me. He was like, I was just dumbfounded. I couldn't believe it, and I was like, yeah, they don't have the budget to keep him on the list, get him on the list. How do they track him and keep him off of it?
You'd have to go back and listen to Wednesday's show to get that one. But Yorkton is in Kindersley tonight. Kindersley, they're solid at 8-4, 0-0 so far this year. So they're battling there. Battleford's in La Ronge. Humboldt makes the trek up to Flin Flon. Melfort, first in the entire SJHL with 18 points. They're in Estevan, and Notre Dame's at Nipawin. So those are your SJHL games. Let's switch it here to NHL. And you absolute pigeons yesterday with this Keniston Super Draft thing. It's the only part of the show that I caught. So what? Okay, you didn't get the rules?
What rules?
Select 32 NHL players.
Yeah, we did.
Total points. And then you guys having problems with the write-ins. You weren't sure if the write-ins and all that. So what is this Kirkland?
Yes.
Who did you write this?
Yes.
Just because he scored a shootout winner in Calgary?
It was a consensus among the group that Kirkland from the Flames needs to be in. He's hot. Besides the nickname, he's playing well.
How many points does he have?
I don't know.
Is he on first PP, second PP?
I don't even know his real name, but I just know he's Kirkland, and we needed him on our team. And why is there only 4 Flames to choose from and not 5? Is that discrimination?
Have you seen the hockey team the last couple of years?
Oh, I know. Trust me. I was like, that's so good. There's 5 Jets. We picked a Jet. What do you got against the Jets?
Nothing. Shout out Silver Heights. I love Winnipeg.
Justin Kirkland, 6 games played, 1 goal, 3 assists.
So
that's
crossing him off.
Oh, no. Oh, so the nickname is Costco because of the Kirkland brand. I was getting confused. I was calling him Kirkland. Because like Kirkland, I thought that was the nickname. You can't keep up on everything. It was a busy show yesterday.
Crossing that off. Sorry, Dave Thomas. I mean, I don't think Dave's too smart to want to go with that. Keniston Super Draft, and you freaked out when you saw first place is $20,000.
Yeah.
In this.
Yeah.
The deadline is November 1st. So you got this week. You can go online, print off your sheet. You can do it on there. It's superdraft.com. And if you're watching the stream, I've showed this before. You got the boxes, right? Okay, so let's get down to some brass tacks here. You took from Winnipeg. You took Scheifele.
Yeah,
I'm okay taking. You got to. This is regular season. Who's going to stay healthy? Who's getting the most ice time?
He's consistent.
For sure, he is. Who's getting the most points? Why wouldn't we take Kyle Connors there too? But let's be real. We only have one player from Tampa Bay so far. Like, do we just box in Braden Point? Like, if he stays healthy, I'm boxing in Braden Point.
Yes, one of the most consistent, underrated guys from the dub. He's never played a game in the minors. He is the ultimate story of a draft steal, of a guy that got drafted in not very high, but it just gone on to have a great career.
I ever tell you the story when I went and watched him play as like a 15-year-old with Moose Jaw? They bring him up to play in like the Eastern Conference Final against Edmonton. We drive to Moose Jaw to watch him. They had a good team. All of a sudden, there's this player on the ice that it looks like he's the 7th skater. The jersey's down to his knees. He's wee.
Oh, like he's the little kid doing a hot lap with the team.
Yeah, that's what we thought. And it's like, no, that's their like phenom, this Braden Point. And he was so good. Like, getting called up in the WHL is a big deal in like September, October. I'm sure of it. But to have it happen in one of the biggest series of the year, it was unreal. The guy is so good. Edmonton Oilers, we only have Connor McDavid crossed off. We have to take Draisaitl.
You have to.
Like, you had just ice time alone.
Go to Vegas. Who do we have for Vegas? Because actually,
do you want to take everybody?
Well, no. Anyway, so there's actually one NHL game. It started at 4. Ottawa's in Vegas, and we were wondering, why is there a 4:00 puck drop in Vegas? Well, who doesn't want to get to the Strip faster? So, anyways, a minute 26 left in the first. It's 3-2 Ottawa. Goals by Gaudette, Giroux, and Batherson, Nicholas Roy, and Nick Hague. 2 Nicholases, spelled the exact same way on Vegas. So it's 3-2 with a minute left in the first.
We only have Jack Eichel. You could go. You got
Alex Pietrangelo. 7 assists already. He's got 7 points.
How do you spell the last name?
Piet.
Yeah.
Ran.
Ran.
Jello with a G. 1L. Oh.
We're taking him as a write-in because Vegas only gives you Barbashev, Eichel, Carlson, Stone, and Theodore. Barbashev. Took him in the playoffs 2 years ago in my pool. Taking candy from a baby. I walked to that pool. I took all Golden Knights for the most part. We should take Barbashev too. Who else is we're missing? Like Stone, is he gonna?
No, but
he's not gonna play.
Here's the thing about Barbashev. He's one of those. I'll say one of those players that sometimes maybe doesn't try as much in the regular season as they do in the playoffs. That would be
Carlson. Take Carlson. I'm taking him. I'm boxing off Carlson. The Keniston Super Draft, if you've never played, it's a lot of fun. The best part is, so entries, you're in the game. One is only $40. Sorry, one Super 8 is $10. 132, so if you pick the 32 is $40. But if you want to really do it, go at it with your wife, friends, whatever. You get 7 of them for $200. You guys didn't like that?
No, it was some interesting phrasing, that's all.
7 super drafts for $200. What? There's a lot of females out there that like NHL hockey. Oh, you guys gotta get your head out of the gutter. We got another week to wrap this up.
Oh, by the way, since we're giving this to charity when we win, what charity besides the Human Fund are we donating the $20,000 to?
The Monday Nooner Foundation?
Mr. Charitable Donation over there.
Are you honest? If you want my honest opinion, I'd either go Special Olympics.
Okay.
Or I would go probably Cancer Society.
Okay.
Is that cool? We good with that? We shake on it virtually?
Yeah.
We're not asking you there. You didn't have a vote.
Oh, speaking of voting, we were asking them yesterday if they ever have. And they have and they have not. They haven't voted yet.
I have no idea. What's going to be dead on is when. What is there one coming up next week?
Yes, Monday.
Is it the provincial?
I was saying yesterday that if I was a candidate and I was down, this is the point I would start promising stuff. It's never going to happen, but I would just start promising. I would get rid of the PST. Everybody gets free winter tires, and I would lower the price of liquor. And whatever. Hey, listen, if I get voted in, I have 4 or 5 years to make it happen.
Yeah.
If I don't. Not the first politician to never follow through, right?
Our ice time provincially everywhere, $100. Doesn't matter. Every team, every hockey team. You're not paying $100 everywhere.
Is it $300 an hour now?
Pretty much.
Wow.
I think my buddies in Arizona pay $800 an hour.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are the promises you could make. Free hockey sticks, everybody.
Yeah.
Ice time, 100.
I mean, if it's crunch time and you need the votes, just start promising stuff.
Hey, hot tip. Quit leaving mailers at our house and in the mailbox. You're killing trees. No one wants to see your face on a mailer.
Yeah, they do. The person who saw... Yes, they do.
No.
It's like realtors and bus benches. They go together. It's like a good marriage.
It's annoying.
What realtor doesn't love a good bus bench with their face on them? You show me an unsuccessful realtor, I'll show you someone that has no bus bench advertising.
It's the all-new Sports Cage coming up in hour 3. Luc Mullinder is going to give us his keys to the game tomorrow. The Riders, curious to what he thinks about Montreal. If guys will play, should they play? And also Rams in an absolute heater tonight at Leibel Field against the University of Alberta Golden Bears. They need to win. The Rams need to win. Coach Mark McConkey will join us in hour 3 and a little Blue Jay report from Dave Thomas. It's the all-new Sports Cage, streaming at sportscage.com, always on your radio at 620 CKRM. 1 hour left in the show. It started out as a bit of a dumpster fire. We had a lot of fun with names and all that. Chris Mazurek, Barney Shynkaruk, Colson, Schultz, Curtis, Gammon.
He says it like he's never met you before.
Yeah, that's my last name.
How was your kids out a middle name? Your middle name would be?
What?
Back.
Mac?
Back.
Oh, yeah, like the board game, yeah.
Backgammon.
That'd be cool.
I guess.
Do you even know what that is?
I've played backgammon, yes.
Have you? I've never played it.
Me neither.
I've always wanted to learn
No,
it.
that's because here's you and I. We can play checkers. We've never learned how to play chess. We're not that smart.
I played chess.
I doubt that.
I did.
I was in chess club.
No.
Came third place many times.
I've played chess hardcore back in the day. I don't know how to play checkers. I know how to play chess. Backgammon and crib are on the list to learn how to play. We've covered so much today. There's so much going on. Rams and U of A, 7 o'clock, Leibel Field tonight. High school football-wise, tonight, locally in Regina, Leopoldus Miller, 5:15 kickoff, Campbell Riffle tonight. Tomorrow, 6-a-side, 9-a-side around the province. It's crazy. Yes, we're hearing you out there in Southie and Cupar. Highway 22, they host Watrous. It's going to be good. Melfort, Fort Qu'Appelle. What else do we got? Wynyard, Clavette. It's David versus Goliath. Somebody messaged in on that. Lumsden, who do they play? Lumsden's a wagon.
Just a second.
Shaunavon. There's so much. And then to top it all off, Pat's hockey under the orange top. Tomorrow, like I said, it's just football crazy. Thunder and Okanagan on Sunday. Let's talk Riders.
All right, 13th fan game tomorrow. Trick plays and treats, as they're calling it. It's a chance for you to dress up, come to Mosaic Stadium, and watch the Riders in Obsidian Green. Kickoff goes at 5.
Go get Western Pizza right now. Sit down. If you're going to Leibel to support the Rams, awesome. Western Pizza guest hotline. Let's go out on it right now. He's joining us, Colorman, on this broadcast tomorrow with Dave Thomas, Luc Mullinder. You swipe to him? Can we make sure he's there? He is. We were worried you weren't coming, Luke. We were worried you weren't coming. You clicked the link. I'm like, there he is. He's there. Hey, greatest trick play you've ever seen when you were playing football?
Greatest trick play I've ever seen playing football. You know what? The fumble Ruski is always good. The one where the guard takes it off the center and goes around. But you gotta have a quick guard if you're gonna do that. It can't just be any guard out there, because you give it away. So that one's always good. The best play I've seen, and I don't know how this happens. I don't know how it happened, but the best play I've ever seen was a college kid. He faked the fair catch somehow and convinced every single punt cover guy that he wasn't going to run the ball. And they just sort of, they just stopped. They walked past him because he convinced them, I don't know how he did it, that he fair caught the ball. And then he just sort of stood. And as soon as they walked by him, he just took off. And the amount of testicular fortitude that you have to do that, because you're literally going, you can't wave it off because then it's a real fair catch. You literally have to play. I don't know how he did it. Anyways.
What's the one? It was at Boise State on the blue field where the guy, he laid down on the far side, so that the punt, he caught the punt, and people kind of forgot the other guy was over there, and he throws it all the way back across the other side of the field. The guy goes down. I always loved the ones where the guy declares the punt, and everyone follows that guy, but it's punted. The punter's the only one that knows it's going to the other side.
Boise State's made a few incredible plays. I remember when they won the Fiesta
Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, but do you remember they did the hook and ladder to even get there? Mm-hmm. They did two trick plays in one series.
What was the quarterback's name? He played for the Riders.
Seth Daggy?
No.
I wanted to mention Seth Daggy's name on the show for a long time.
Oh, it's going to come to me. And people out there.
We've had a few big time QBs that didn't end up playing, but here at the Riders. But I mean, the biggest name we ever had who never played was Chris Leak. We had him in our locker room for a year or so.
Really?
Yeah.
Boise State, Colson, trick plays. The quarterback was. We'll come up with it. You know what Bedford Road, our alma mater in Saskatoon, what the trick play was, and then everybody caught on by the time I was in grade 12, so we couldn't use it.
What, graduating high school?
Very much so. Hey, remember I played chess though. It was the bounce.
Hey, Hey, Barney, I gotta. As a guy who plays a lot of chess, man, I'm gonna bring a board over there the next time. I'm near the studio.
I'll let you play my son Roman because he's way better. I don't have the attention span. Fancy that to play it. Here was our play though. The bounce pass. So I couldn't go at a shotgun. I'd go behind center. And you take it, and then you bounce it out to the wide receiver on the wide side of the field, and it bounces off the ground, and it's behind. So everybody in high school football, right? Kids are sometimes not all there. They think the play's dead because it hit the ground. But it bounces to the wide receiver. Wide receiver catches it, bombs it backside post. It was Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews' play.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Bedford Road Collegiate, shout out.
2007 Fiesta Bowl. That's when this happened.
Who was the quarterback?
The senior quarterback was Taylor Tharp.
No. I'll find it out. What are your keys to the game tomorrow?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Well, the game tomorrow. I mean, it's either going to be really interesting or really. I think there's two ways to look at it. If you're the Saskatchewan Roughriders, I've been in one of these situations too, where you're warming up and you don't necessarily know what you're playing for as yet, right? And so the Saskatchewan Roughriders, they'll find out about an hour before kickoff whether the game means first place or the game is just an incredibly important prep game for the BC Lions coming in to town next week. I think that there's advantages to both. I think in the Saskatchewan Roughriders case, I think even though it's a humongous risk playing an additional playoff game, I think that they're better off actually, and I want them to finish first. Let me preface this by saying I want them to win the West Division. But if they finish second, it's not a bad thing, because I think the more football this team plays right now at this time of year, the better.
What do you think Montreal does?
I think Montreal plays its starters for a while, gets nice and sort of warmed up. And see, the other thing about this too is, Barney, is that so many people think like it's still the same amount of people on the roster, right? Like the teams don't have double the guys where they're just going to put in all of the backups, right? Like the quarterback will come out, probably the wide receiver will have like, for instance, I'd be shocked. So the way I think it would play out is if Winnipeg went and won that game before the Riders played, I don't think we'd see Milligan. I don't think we'd see Trevor Harris. We probably wouldn't see A.J. Ouellette, right? We probably won't see Emelis, right? I think we definitely know we're not going to see Lanier because Lanier's not even on the roster, right? So I think that people forget, like, there's still going to be a ton of guys playing. And again, it's also professional football, right? Like, Shea Patterson's going to get a ton of playing time if he plays, and he needs to put it on tape that he's continually building, right? So there's going to be a ton to watch either way.
Is it when you do that, Luke, and you talk about the roster, and it's a great point because it's, again, not a video game. It's not high school football, right? Like there's only so many guys you can dress. Yeah. Is it more difficult to sit guys on the defensive side of the ball?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think that if you're a team that has gotten where the Riders have gotten this far into the year, I don't think there's going to be somebody who's not prepared, for instance, right? I mean, if you look at the Riders, I don't have the roster in front of me, but I'm pretty sure that Dalkey and Jackson Ford are dressing. They'll have the combo. They'll definitely have one of the Onyekas. They'll have the combo. So there's going to be plenty of ways they can tool the roster, right? Like, for instance, if you want to take out C.J. Revis, right? Like Jaden Dalkey's a guy who's played a ton of football down at the strong side. So I think that they're going to have the guys to rotate in, and also, again, you got to keep guys healthy, right? So
one of the things that we talked about on the show yesterday, and Suits kind of agreed with Montreal out east, because they've been in first place so long, they haven't played any meaningful football in a long time, where last year they had to play 8, 9, 10 weeks in a row of meaningful football. Yeah. They couldn't lose. They were on the ledge the whole time. It's totally different this year, and you can see the results are there. It's just not the same. So I would love to see Winnipeg go down tomorrow, but Winnipeg is playing meaningful football. They're looking good. But on the other side, like if you're Jason Moss, you're any of those guys, you don't want to lose. Like you want to play to win. And that's the hard part where I can't get, like, I don't know anybody on the Alouettes that just wants to lay down and hand that game to Winnipeg.
Well, it's one of the reasons why they have to stay competitive. Is you're exactly right. For instance, it's why I think the Riders have a chance to go far in this playoff. I mean, they've had to fight, scratch, claw their way here. Right? It's sort of like the Alouettes last year, like you mentioned. They won 5 of the last 6. You have to be playing your best brand of football in that final third of the year. The Riders finally got there, right? And I think that's what Jason Moss wants to continue to push. He wants that team to be in a good position because there's a lot of time off, right? We've seen what time off does to, you can start slow in the game. Imagine starting slow in the most meaningful game of the year, like the East or West final, right? Like you can't start slow in these games. So that's why I say the Riders are in a good position either way. If they win, great. But if Winnipeg wins and the Riders stay in second, I think it's the best spot for them. I think that they can beat BC. I think that it'll be tougher. Obviously, I think VA will be the starting quarterback when they play BC. But and again, then you go to Winnipeg. If you're able to beat BC, you go to Winnipeg. And I'll tell you what, man, the hardest thing to do, guys, in football is beat a team 3 times in a row. Winnipeg's going to have their handful.
Ask the Saskatoon Hilltops.
Yeah. Well, that's the one thing. So a couple weeks back, your guy Doubles, he was passionate when the VA topic came up, and BC and the Rourke or whatever. And Darian, he's pretty even keel, but he got passionate about the VA thing and how he worked with all those receivers in the offseason. He was building that chemistry, and it came in and just got destroyed. And then you see last week, they look like a totally different football team. And we were surprised a few weeks ago, chatting in the booth before the game, that he wasn't getting the start, and then it just worked out well for the Riders, but they just seemed like a different team. Like they were... did Suits allude to this, that guys seem to be playing differently? It's almost like, was this like quiet quitting before under the Nathan Rourke thing, and then VA comes in, and all of a sudden
you treat a guy like God. You treat a guy like God, right? I mean, that's what they brought in Nathan Rourke. They made a huge deal of it. They thought that they were going to get Nathan Rourke of his rookie season. Again, they mess with the football gods, man. They're crazy. I thought they completely screwed themselves over in BC. It's on them. I was telling people, and I think I said this last show anyway, so this is repetitive for the people that were listening last time I said it. But again, we went through this in 2008. That whole locker room wanted Darian Durant to be our quarterback. There wasn't one guy in there who didn't think Durant shouldn't be our quarterback, and we refused to do it. We refused to do it. It's on Eric Tillman. I always say that. Eric Tillman is the guy who made the decision to continue to play, and he played a quarterback in Michael Bishop. Michael Bishop was a great dude, great athlete, but again, couldn't read a defense, and it killed us. The 2008 team was probably better than the 2017. It's just not at the quarterback position, right? And we should have ran right through the playoffs, but they refused to put in the quarterback that had the locker room that everybody wanted to get behind. And BC looked like they almost did the same thing, right? I think that they were thinking on BC. I think that they were hoping that VA didn't play well last week, because then they'd have an excuse. All the argument would be quelled. It wouldn't be an issue anymore. Rourke's our guy, and then he goes out and plays like that, and they're like, no.
Yeah. Well, okay. So, but I bet you there was. But let's see, if there's 43 on the roster, take off one named Rourke. There's 42 other guys that wanted VA to play well, and everybody else in the front office or anything else, I'm sure. But those other guys in the locker room who depend on this, the paycheck, the money, the playoff money, and all of that, were probably happy to see VA. And I'm glad that they came out and said he's going to be our starter in the playoffs. I think you kind of had to say that if you want guys to tune you in, or it's tune out city to be like, all right, time to get some time on tape. Here's the other thing.
They knew that as soon as that game ended, that team needed to focus right in on and it wasn't going to do any favors by having the 2 media reporters that exist in BC that cover the BC Lions questioning who the guy was going to be. You know what I mean?
Oh, this is awesome.
You know what I'm saying?
Here's the other thing. I love that shot, BC reporters or anybody that does cover you. So thinking about this earlier today, we're focused on BC, or no, we're focused on Montreal and Winnipeg, and over here in Riderville. Has anybody taken the time, because it was about 90 seconds, can we just ignore the Calgary Stampeders coming in here tomorrow with a chance to play spoiler or do something? Like, can we just look past that? Because I'm like, everybody's just assuming we're just going to win.
That's what I was actually thinking about that about an hour ago.
We're just assuming, like, And Calgary's been a dumpster fire. Jake Mayer will be starting quarterback tomorrow. It hasn't been good, but I don't know. I don't know if we're good. We're playing well.
Like you're thinking like a Vanderbilt.
Yeah, Vanderbilt
come out of
Alabama.
nowhere.
Yeah.
Listen, you gotta play at a high level tomorrow. It doesn't matter who's on field because again, you have to be playing your best football going into the playoffs. I'll give you an example. You take it out of Ryderville. Look at Ottawa. Ottawa stumbled into the playoffs. They lost 5 of the last 6. They're hurting right now. They're a one-legged man in an ass-kicking competition against. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be tough.
Hey,
I'm serious. It's going to be tough, guys.
Shout out Weston Dressler and Neil Hughes.
Right, it's going to be tough.
Sell prosthetics.
It's not an easy situation to go in there when you're just kind of reeling and you know you've got that feeling of like, oh, at least we're in it. And then you probably let the narrative, hey, you know, anything can happen in the playoffs, guys. No, that Toronto team has a high likelihood of winning that game handily. You have to be playing your best, and that's what the issue. And the nice thing about the Saskatchewan Roughriders, guys, is all year long it's been about going 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. So realistically, Corey Mace doesn't have to change the message, right? Hey guys, we're treating this game like every other game, and what do we want to do every other game? We want it to go 1-0. It's no different here. Right? And the guys, by the way, and the guys who are playing for the guys that were game time decisions or the guys who are going to get a lot more reps, this is your opportunity to go out there and put something on tape, right? And continue, because, and you know, everybody at this time too, I mean, this is also the time where guys are sort of counting their checks, right? The guys, right? Like that offseason looms large. And remember, like, hey, after this, there's going to be some decisions made. No team is the same in any year from year to year.
It's kind of like what we talked about in May training camp, but I want to throw this to you. And I know tomorrow's game could be a nothing burger, could mean everything. Who's a guy on the Riders that we're not talking about? Roland Milligan, we're getting a lot of hype. AJ, who's a guy on the Riders we're not talking about that we could be talking a lot about in a couple weeks' time?
Trayvon Tate. Trayvon Tate, the right tackle. I can't tell you. The reason why you haven't mentioned Trayvon Tate is because he hasn't been an issue. And Trayvon Tate had probably, out of all the linemen injuries that the Saskatchewan Roughriders sustained this year, the biggest one was the right tackle spot, because you not only lost a great tackle, great player on the field, you lost a great leader in the locker room. Trayvon Tate has filled in that right tackle spot admirably. I think that he's played really, really well, and I think that out of everybody who got thrown in a crunch, he did the best, and that's saying a lot because they've gotten some great performances out of some of those linemen. Logan Ferland, obviously, Trevor Reed is a guy who should be one of their rookies of the year, the rookie of the year there. But Trayvon Tate is a guy we haven't talked about a whole lot, but he has had, and I know it's not a sexy position. The other guy I think that we haven't talked about a ton and has been a godsend to this team is Marcus Sayles, number 8. Marcus Sayles has played fantastic football. He's been absolutely everything you need out of a field corner.
Remember how everyone was slagging on him when we got him? The guy's too old. No wonder BC wanted to get rid of him. Blah blah blah.
He had a rough first game, but ever since then, he's become invisible.
Solid.
Yeah, he's been awesome, and again, I think the other guy too, even though this may not be, I think Keyshawn Johnson, as much as everybody really respects and admires Keyshawn Johnson at the moment, I still think that he's a little bit underrated for some. Not enough guys are talking about him in the league. He's been outstanding for the Saskatchewan Roughriders too. So those are the 3 guys I would say: Trayvon Tate, Keyshawn Johnson, and Marcus Sayles.
I want to go to the Captain Obvious stuff, and I always loved him as a Stampeder. I hated him. I'm like, how did he end up in Hamilton? Jameer Thurman, as advertised, money well spent. And if this guy, and I hope, because we had Charleston Hughes on yesterday, and he talked about Thurman a little bit and what he meant to Calgary, and then Derek Wigan and all that. So I hope Jameer is around for a long time, as long as he decides to play, because to me, he's the difference. Everybody talks about Roland Milligan, but Jameer Thurman just quietly going about it, doing his thing, that Rider defense. Yeah. What a stud.
He's been awesome. We've had some really good middle linebackers in the organization. anybody. I mean, number 11 last year. Before that, we had Solomon Almimian, Mike McCullough, obviously a Canadian middle linebacker who's been like we've had some studs in that spot, right?
Big cell phone guy.
Big cell phone guy. Yeah. Text him. Guarantee you. Yeah. No, but you know what I mean. Like we've had some solid middle linebackers in this organization, and I think that what Jameer Thurman brought this year isn't just leadership. It was a quiet, confident type of leadership. He's not a rah guy. He's just a guy that goes out and does his job and does it at a really high level. I love the speed that he plays with, and I wish I did a better job in my role at times explaining just how fast Jameer Thurman read and scraped and got in on a tackle, right? Like there's just not enough time in a broadcast between plays to like really talk about some of the outstanding things that guy has done, right? Because technically he's awesome. So it's been good. And you know what? He's a tough guy too. That's a tough SOB, man. He was coming in there. I didn't think he was going to last till week 3. I remember seeing him after the first game, and he was doing the old the nerd turning of the whole body if he turned around, right? Like I was like, oh man, this guy, right? And he's been solid. And he's been there the whole time. You know what I'm talking about, guys? You know when you get moving.
Yeah. Oh, I know what you're talking about. What a weekend for football here, though. Like you got Rams must win tonight at Leibel. You know, rider stamps. You got high school football all over the place, and then you got Thunder, Okanagan Sunday.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're going to that, but what a weekend for football, right?
Yeah, I'm going to go to that for sure. It was funny. I wanted to go to the last 2 Hilltops games have been in Saskatoon. And I remember thinking, not this last one they won, but the one before that, I remember thinking that was here. I started packing Luther up, getting him ready to go to a football game, and then realized it was in Saskatoon. So I'm glad I'm going to be able to go over and catch them. I'll probably have Red Zone playing in my ear and on my phone, but I'm pumped up, man. I'm pumped up for Scott and his crew. I'm pumped up for Murad. Those guys work so hard, especially when it comes to supplying the resources that enable you to actually succeed after the game, or after the game's done, right? Like, I mean, these guys just aren't gonna, fall off the face of the earth after their Thunder experience is done, because those guys are putting them through school. They're giving them scholarships, right? Like, these guys are gonna have chances to succeed in life, and you want teams like that to win. So I'm pulling for them on Sunday, but Okanagan's a good team. They're always a good squad.
Yeah, well, we had Murad on the radio yesterday, and I asked him, I said, well, what was the setup going into Saskatoon? Like, it was a 1 bus, 2? He said, no, it was 4 buses. They took all of the players that weren't dressing as well, so they could be part of the experience, because this will pay dividends down the road, even if you weren't playing, to see that, to be part of that. Now, a lot of it stuff comes down to, it's just economics, but when you're hearing that, because we're asking him, how big was the caravan from Regina to South? He goes, it was big. It was a big caravan, and just hearing, because we asked him, like, you sound like a proud father. Because, as sort of one of the overseers of this, and you've been involved with the Thunder, and we saw it at the dinner, and here's the thing, and I think to cement this is, you can't look past the Okanagan, but if you can do this, you go and win that national championship, and you really put a stamp on this program. That's something nobody will ever be able to take away from you.
Oh, totally. I mean, it's been so long since they won the last one, right? And that's why, man, you look at the effort those guys are putting in. Murad, his board, guys like Bryn, who have been there forever. Scott's been there since their last championship, right? Like, those guys have been grinding, man, and it's all for them. I mean, that's a thankless job, guys. That's a volunteer position. And, as successful as Murad Al-Khatib is, too, and I know that everybody lauds him for being president, he's just one of the boys. At the end of the day, that guy just wants to be one of the boys, too. And a guy who's supported not just the Thunder, but overall provincial football the way he has, it's again, you just want those guys to succeed.
We got 30 seconds. Should I sprinkle on Michigan State against Michigan or no?
Yeah, actually, I think we're going to win that game.
Okay.
Michigan's struggling. I think that. See, they're not used to struggling. We are. We've been struggling for the last 2 years. And we've got some good freshmen. I'm excited about that game, too.
So, real quick, you went to Michigan State. Michigan, obviously, the rivalry. If you only win 1 game a year, is that it? Is it that important? Is it like Labor Day here? We have to beat the Bombers. If nothing else matters for the rest of the year, is you have to beat Michigan?
It used to be Notre Dame, where you had to beat Notre Dame. Notre Dame didn't have much success. Yeah, Michigan's nice to beat, boys. I mean, you got that big 6-foot-tall Paul Bunyan trophy. It's nice to walk by that thing in your player lounge every single year. So, yeah, I think that I think that we're going to win that game, hopefully.
Jared Zabransky.
Jared Zabransky is
Played
the
for
quarterback. Yeah.
Edmonton. That was the Boise State quarterback.
Zabransky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
I
Bill
wonder why he didn't make it
Bransky.
in
Jared
professional
Zabransky. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Have a good call tomorrow, Luke. See you at the game Sunday.
Yeah, boys. We'll see you at the stadium.
See you at the stadium.
You got her. Luc Mullinder. He's color guy with Dave Thomas tomorrow. Kickoff 5 o'clock.
We were going to ask him because we asked Dave yesterday since you can dress up if he was dressing up for Halloween.
Yeah. I was actually going to ask him what he's giving away at the Mullinder household. Maybe I'll ask him next week. Yeah. We're going to take a break. Colson's freaking out over there. It's the all-new Sports Cage. Watching that stream.
Millennial.
SportsCage.com and on the radio, 620 CKRM. All over the map. All over the map today. Here, get this. Senior hockey starting tonight in Saskatchewan. A couple of games. We're going to have the senior hockey preview show on the Monday nooner coming up next week. We're going to be covering that here in the Sports Cage throughout the season because it is one of the biggest things in Saskatchewan in the wintertime. Lid lifter in Mydale. Mustangs hosting the Carnduff Red Devils. Tonight, that game is at 8 p.m. at the Harry O. Memorial
You want to
Arena.
talk about guys being stiff that are only going to be able to turn one way tomorrow morning. It'll be one of those, and here's the thing about you senior hockey guys. There's going to be at least one or two guys that it's going to need their wife to help them to the truck after the game because they maybe overdid a little bit and they didn't stretch.
Because the misconception with senior hockey is it's all these old guys like me playing. It's not. It's guys right out of junior, right out of pro,
I know, but
right out of college.
But there will be the odd guy to be like, oh man.
Maybe in this one. The other game tonight, senior hockey in the province, is in Tisdale. Tisdale plays host to Hudson Bay. And there's a bunch of preseason games going on. So it's getting that time of the year where the small town rinks, the small town taverns, they're all buzzing. The best thing that could happen for a small town in the next few weeks here is massive high school football game and then senior hockey game at night.
So here's the thing.
If you've lived in the city your whole life, you do not get it.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but it is big.
So when you strike your under-the-table deal playing senior hockey, you're getting paid illegally, like you're circumventing the system. Do you get your sticks and gas money in preseason as well, or does it only kick in the regular season?
Plead the fifth.
You're not going to plead that, so you're lying. So that's true. So like the Jerry Jones type under-the-table deals could happen at any time, any game, anywhere. Now, do you negotiate, when you're negotiating, more money for playoffs?
High school football this evening. Locally in Regina.
It's a valid question, okay?
I don't know. I'm not an agent.
I don't play senior hockey. I'm just wondering. I'm more curious than anything.
I'm not an agent. I don't know what goes on. I just know it's big.
Yeah, right.
People love it. There's 110 teams in the province.
Could you imagine? So in the world where everything's tracked electronically, does that mean some dude has to go to the bank and just take out sums of cash now so it all stays off the books? Like envelopes, like mob style? You're just handing across, like in the parking lot, right there, changing hands.
High school football.
Leave your truck unlocked. I'll put it under the floor mat.
David Goliath tomorrow. Clavette hosting Wynyard. That's a big one. The other one, QPAR hosting Watrous. That's scary. Highway 22 Storm. Watrous, they're looking for the upset there.
What did Mike tell us today at Western Pizza? They ran out of hot chocolate last night at Mosaic Stadium at the football game because it was too chilly.
Yeah, that kicked off at 5:50 in the first high school. They ran out of hot chocolate, and it was like fries and gravy and poutine like crazy at Western Pizza in Mosaic Stadium. Like high school football playoffs, so good. I would, if the boy wasn't playing. By the way, the Graham Tour Bantam AA hockey tournament's going on in Regina, or U15. Every scout in the Western Hockey League's there. It is nutso. Regina Blues, surprise. They're on an absolute surprise wagon right now. They play at 6 o'clock. If I wasn't going to that, I'd be going to watch that Rams game tonight at Leibel. They need to win. Rams, we got Coach Mark McConkey coming up here. Thanks for taking some time right before the game.
Tonight it's a sports doubleheader on CKRM. We've got the Pats pregame show that kicks in at 6:30. We'll have play-by-play at 7, and then on CKRM2, if you're on our website, 620 CKRM Radio, you can get the Regina Rams game as they take on the University of Alberta Golden Bears. That'll kick in at 6:45 with Brendan McGuire and Derek Bidwell, and we'll have the kickoff for you at 7 o'clock.
I'll be listening to that while watching hockey. Major League Baseball, World Series starts tonight. WHL Cup, Saskatchewan beat Manitoba 5-0 earlier today. Adam Montaigne from the Pat Seas with a shout-out there. Southie Mainline Chrysler, worth the drive game in the SJHL tonight at Melville at Weyburn. Great game.
Although Humboldt is in first place.
No, Melfort.
Or Melfort is in first place.
In Estevan.
This should be the game of the weekend, according to Benny Welchek.
Melville, Weyburn, worth the drive every time. Guaranteed new king of trucks in Southie, Saskatchewan. Like I said, Coach Mark McConkey from the Rams coming up after this break. I know you got to go. Thanks so much for being here. Talk to you.
We'll see at the stadium tomorrow. Are you wearing a costume?
No, I'm wearing Obsidian Green.
I know, me too.
Green.
I'm going out as a delusional Rider fan. Decked out in the latest colors of Rider Nation.
Rams head coach Mark McConkey's coming up after the break. You are listening, watching the all-new Sports Cage on the home of football in Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM. It is the all-new Sports Cage. Welcome back. A little bit left in the show here. Big game tonight. Man, Leibel Field is going to be buzzing this weekend. It's the U of R Rams against the University of Alberta Golden Bears, 7 p.m., like I said, at Leibel. Joining us on the Western Pizza guest hotline. It's a good night for Western Pizza, and then go to the football game. It's perfect. Mark McConkey. Mark, we're talking again. I love it, right? Win and you're in. Did you guys print T-shirts or anything? Any kind of marketing slogans? But you know what? The way things have gone, you gotta be happy, right? You control your destiny. You're at home. Let's win this game, and then we get a chip in a chair, as they say.
Yeah, no, super fortunate. It's been a weird year in the Can West, and everyone's tight and battling, and it's at the end of the day, like out of the three teams fighting for that fourth spot, we're in the best spot. We're at home. If we win, we're in. We don't need to beat anyone by points. We don't need to hope anyone else loses. It's pretty simple for us. Win and in.
When you look at your games so far, like really close, right? Saskatchewan lose by 2, you lose by 3 to Calgary. The only game that maybe the spread was an over would have been the Alberta game. What will change? What didn't go right in that game for you guys against the Golden Bears? Let's start there.
Yeah, we started extremely slow. That's one of the toughest travels in Can West, is taking an 8-hour bus ride and a 7 p.m. game. So good news for us is they had to do that yesterday and wait around the hotel all day today. So we got off to a slow start. They moved the ball. They got up 17-0 on us, and then we started to calm down and just play our game and play football, and played a little bit better in the second half. But at that point, it was almost too late. They established the run. We couldn't get momentum going on offense, and that's never a good thing when that happens.
What do you guys need to do tonight?
Exactly the opposite of that. So we gotta stop the run, get the defense off the field, and the offense has just got to keep ball control. We don't need to score 50 points. We just need to move the ball, get first downs, keep their offense off the field, and slowly, methodically execute, march the field, and get points when we're in the red zone.
Your leaders on your team, right? You talk about that in any sport. In a big game, you need your leaders to step up. The big play guys. Who are you hoping tonight kind of leads you guys into this?
Yeah, that's exactly what the message was to the team. It's like we need our best players to be our best players, especially in a game like this. And like offensively, obviously it starts at the quarterback position with Noah Pellichet. He's got to play really well. Then we need some big plays from guys like Deshaun Mims, Ryland Sokol, Nicholas Sirleaf. The whole O-line, they never get enough credit, but we need them to play well, protect well, get the ground game going. So offensively, those are kind of the big ones. And then defensively, guys like Delaney Robinson, Jackson Sombach, Chopper Hippie, Cameron Ma, Tarek Polius, like you can go. There's lots of studs on defense, so you can pick all of them. But those guys just got to do their job and play well together, and we're going to be just fine.
Like throughout the show, we're talking Riders, we're talking high school football. There's big games everywhere. It's football. The weather's changing. It's exciting. If anyone's ever played football, this kind of takes you back to that time. And then for football, right, it's always one game. And it seems things can go a little quirky at times. Maybe there's a bad balance. Maybe it's a fumble or something like that. As a coach, how do you kind of keep things even keel, whether it goes your way or it goes against you guys? Like, what's the message to the guys on the sideline to just say, hey, we're playing a full game here. Don't get too high. Don't get too low.
Yeah, that's kind of been the message even last week and this week. We're playing play by play. That's it. I said we're both going to get around 55 plays each, O&D, and about 30 special teams, and it's one play at a time and play by play. We're going to have good ones. We're going to have bad ones. But at the end of the day, whoever can stack up more positive plays is going to come out on the top. And that's exactly our mindset going into this. And that's kind of how we keep everyone even keel. Like, we're going to get a touchdown, we're going to get one against, and let's just go to the next play, focus on that. That's all you can do. You only get 55 plays. You guys put in so many hours of work and study hall on this and grind in the summer at 6 a.m. in the winter. Like, just one play at a time. That's all you can do.
Obviously, let's put the call out right now. It's going to be a nice night for football. We know there's high school going on, but it's going to be a nice night. Like, you guys want that home field to be an advantage. You want people there shouting, hollering, making it a little more difficult for the Golden Bears.
Absolutely. Yeah, especially playing at Libel because it's a small stand, so they're all right there and they're kind of right on top of the U of A bench, and just like when we played there. So I know we've played a couple games there in the past and we're 2-0 there, so we got that going for us, and the other teams always complain about the fans right on them, so that's a big advantage for us if we can get them excited early and kind of get them on the bench, and that'll be a big advantage for us.
Coach, I know it's tough on game day to do stuff like this. Really appreciate it, and hey, win and you're in, right? It's great, like you said. It's been such a wild year following it too. It's been crazy. Appreciate this. Best of luck tonight. Go get them.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Right on. Head coach of the U of R Rams, Mark McConkey. It's a big one. 7 p.m. at Libel Field tonight. Go and support. Like he said, yeah, that Alberta bench is right underneath the stands there. Go be loud, heckle. If you're looking for some good heckles, tweet at us. They'll send you some. It's the Rams and the Golden Bears tonight. It is the all-new SportsCage on the home of sports and football in Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM.
I'm Dave Thomas, and it's time for the baseball report for Short-E Generators. Keep the power in your hands with an automatic standby generator from Short-E Generators, the standby generator experts. A lot of eyes are going to be on Game 1 of the World Series tonight when the LA Dodgers host the New York Yankees. But back at home in the Queen City, a lot of eyes will be on Baseball Canada Men's National Championship that will come to town next August. Chair of the organizing committee is Mark Bracken, who is excited for the event.
It's going to be huge. It hasn't been in the province for over 25 years. We're excited about hosting it. The Regina Trappers, as you mentioned, the last 2 years have lost in the gold medal final to Team Quebec by a one-run score in Red Deer and a 2-0 just this past August in Tecumseh, Windsor. So they're right there. The boys in Saskatchewan are competitive. They're looking forward to hosting it at home. And we've got our host organizing committee up and running, and we can't wait for all 10 teams from every province in Canada to join us next August for this tournament.
And some of the best players in the country will be here.
You know, there's a lot of senior men's baseball leagues going around the province and guys still playing, but this is just the best caliber of senior men's in the country. So a good portion of the rosters from all the provinces have guys that were major league drafted, went through the minors, and now are a little bit older, but still very competitive and still have the skill set to be great players. Pretty much every player coming from all provinces will be a former collegiate level player. And a lot of guys fresh out of those independent leagues like the Frontier, the Can-Am, like some of the Quebec players, like just a year or two ago, were playing for Trois-Rivières or something in one of those independent leagues. So this is the top level of amateur baseball that you will see in Canada. And guys, ranging from mid-20s to like late 30s.
The event will run August 20th to 24th, and there's a great chance now to get involved.
Yeah, so we got a full-blown sponsorship package developed, and we've got all kinds of levels from, somebody that wants to get involved at that $500 or $750 range right up to presenting sponsor at $10,000. So all kinds of ranges of opportunities for businesses and larger corporations to get involved. Our goal is to raise a minimum of $25,000 in corporate sponsorship, and we're confident that the business community will come through. So what we're focusing on as a host committee in the next 3 to 4 months is that corporate sponsorship solicitation and some of the planning and ticket sale and further marketing to get fans into the park will be, spring to summer. But right now we're really trying to confirm our finances through corporate sponsorship. So yeah, we have a package. We have all kinds of levels.
And that's your baseball report for Shore D Generators. Keep the power in your hands with an automatic standby generator from Shore D Generators, the standby generator experts.